Good morning, friends, and welcome once again to a very interesting approach to illustrate tumor as an organ by making a suitable example with a threatful organization in a very simple way for the students or even the normal generalized people of the society. They can understand why and how the tumor is so deadly and what are the attributes of the cancer cells within the malignant tumor. So, my dear friend, if you look at the tumor organ, I have tried my best to make a comparison with certain attributes or properties. How this tumor organ is within the human body as a system, they are working as a threatful entity, threatful component of the organization. And in that course, I will try to give certain example regarding the attributes of tumor as an organ, right? Okay. First example I would like to illustrate here, that is, if we know the tumor cells, specifically malignant tumor cells or cancer cells, they are actually self cells. Trillion, 100 trillions of the cell within our human body system, selected number of the cells are abnormal, they are changed, they are mutated, and these are not outside of the body. They are not like SARS-CoV-2 virus particle. They are not bacterial system. They are from within the body, and that is why these are self cell. Those are abnormal. So likewise, my dear friend, in a comparison, if you look at threatful organization, I took just to simplify, even the threatful organization at country level or the state level or the global level. So these are all generated from the society itself. They are not animals, they are created from within the society. So the society and the human body system, if you look at the comparison, the tumor cells are self cells, and also the threatful organizations are also self generated. Look at here. That is the whole comparison, and the similar characteristics are there. Another point is the cancer cells, they are self abnormal cells, right? Most of the time it is difficult to be recognized, targeted within the same human body system, because they are having the similar properties like some normal cells. So it is always difficult task. Similarly, within our society, if you look at threatful organizations, they are within the society, from the society, and it is always difficult to pinpoint and target threatful organization. That is what I thought. This is one of the simplest comparison, and also it gives us an opportunity to understand the attributes of tumor as an organ. Okay, so now the next attributes, what I thought, definitely cancer cells, they have the changes, abnormal changes, undesired changes, or sometime more specifically we can say mutated, or mutations are there. For the layman, if they can understand, the changes are there, abnormal changes are there within the trillions of the cells of the human body system, that is going to lead to the cancer cell. That means within the human body, these changes are happening. Likewise, if you look at, or we look at here, the threatful organization like antisocial or anti-humanity, there are also changes are there. But these changes, whether within the human body system here or within the society, is not a one-day task. These changes or mutations are very long sequential steps are involved. One changes, second changes, and then multiple changes are there. And that leads to the formation of cancer cells, or you can say the tumor as an organ, right? So it is not a one-day task. So even the threatful organization within the society, it is not going to be prop up in one day. It takes time for to create such anti-humanity or anti-social thought process. Great. If we say it is a sequential steps or multiple events within the cancer cells, then there is a real thought. Discovered knowledge, okay, so there are genetic, look at here, and the environmental, look at genetic and environmental. From birth, in, I mean, hereditary in nature from the parents, etc. But yes, if we look at the environmental factors, it can be smoking, it can be alcohol, it can be diet, it can be pesticide, it can be radiations, and many more factors. So what we understood, so for the society, we have to understand in a better way that the our own cells are going to be cancerous cell, and it can be partially due to the genetic and also the environmental factors are there. All together, they are going to create tumor as an organ. Likewise, threatful organization. Great. Next comparison, my dear friend, I would like to illustrate here. These cancer cells, look at here, they are selfish in nature. Within the tumor as an organ, there are cancerous cells, there are non-cancerous cells like immune cells or stromal cells, but all even non-cancer cell, they work for tumor organ, right? For their growth and their proliferation and many more things. So these cells are selfish in nature. These are self-destructive and also the system destructive. Once the tumor as an organ is developed as a primary tumor and also the metastatic secondary tumors, all together, these selected cancer cells and also the non-cancer cell, they create such a devastating abnormal homeostasis, so that whole human body is going to collapse. That means self-destructive. Similarly, threatful organization, they create same type of the situation. Another very important point is these tumor organ where the cancer cells and non-cancer cells, they are working together, they are very you can say bad in attitude. They deprive of other normal cells for their food, for their diet, for their nutrition, right? And that is also one of the what is the consequences of presence of these cancer cells. However, they are limited in nature, limited in number within the human body system, but they are going to bring such a consequences that other normal cells, they are deprived of these diet, these many resources. And likewise, threatful organization, they also do similar kind of trouble within the society. Great, my dear friend. Now the next point is, yes, we know cancer cells are malignant cells. So what is malignant cells? So what I thought, okay, let us describe in a very general way. So what is the malignance means? Their intentions are malign, bad, evil in nature, like evilness. Look at here. And what I also thought, okay, malignant, what I saw, this is the malign and this is the end. So the cancer cells, however, they are limited in nature within the human body system, they are behaving for a evil attitude. They are bad. So these small number of cancer cells within the 100 trillions of the human body system, they create such an environment that whole human body system is going to collapse. And that is why evilness, bad intention by the cancer cells and also the threatful organization, they behave also similarly. That is one of the comparison between tumor organ and the threatful organization. Great. And here is the, that is why for illustration, look at the ants. So what I think, cancer cells like, the highly bad in nature ants are within the human body system, and they are bringing such a consequences at different levels, and whole human body system is going to collapse. Okay. Now the next point is, right, the cancer cells, if we look at here, they do not obey the cellular tissue signals. Like, traffic signal, can you see here? If someone is going to stop, the vehicle should stop, right? But cancer cells, they have something other intention and the attributes. They do not obey the signal. Likewise, threatful organization, they do not obey the social and system rules. Look at here. Another very important is the proportion of cancer cells within the tumor organ is very, very limited. Among the 100 trillions of the cell within a human body system, the cancer cells are very tiny fraction. However, in spite of proportion is very low, consequences are so fatal and deadly. We know the consequences of tumor presence within the human body system. Likewise, threatful organization across the globe is very limited. However, their presence at society level, at the country level, or the global level is so devastating and so threatful, right? So that is what I thought. It is one of the also suitable comparison between the tumor organ and the threatful organization. Another point is, we know that cancer cells, they are destructive, invasiveness, and also infiltration in nature. They infiltrate to the, the nearby normal tissue or the normal cell. Likewise, threatful organizations, they are also destructive, invasiveness, and also infiltrative in nature. They infiltrate to the other region, other country, other state, etc. And that is what, it's very interesting comparison. Look at here this way. Another important is these cancer cells within the tumor organ, they have the high powerful networking, right? Signaling or the communication. Look at. And that is why, we refer, they have the abnormal signaling strength, abnormal communication strength. And similarly, the threatful organization, they also have and they achieve similar kind of attributes or intentions. The next point to make a comparison is, yeah, any tumor at the beginning that starts with a few selected number of the cell. Look at here. Then with multiple steps, time taking, progressive in nature, then they turn into abnormal or malignant cell. Similarly, threatful organization, the evilness minded people or the anti-humanity mind, they are not like all of a sudden. It takes time, and their mindsets are changed across the time. So initially few selected people, and then it goes expanding. Similarly, like, the tumor organ, where the selected number of the cells, they propagate. Another very important is the rapid proliferation. Look at here. Increase in the number of the cells is very, very high. In other way, what I mean, the number of cancer cells, if it is one, then within a short span of time, like few years, that number is going to increase in so many number. Why it is happening? How it is happening? That is what we say abnormal changes, abnormal mutations, etc. Yes. So similarly, threatful organizations, they also have the similar kind of attitude or intention, where the expansion of the threatful organizations are very, very rapid. That is why I thought it can be a good comparison. Another very important look at here, the cancer cells, they have, because they are the self abnormal cell, right? They are from within the body. So these cancer cells, they know all the tricks, all the opportunities, how to evade from or escape from the surveillance of immune system. Look at here. They escape from the immune system. They are not going to be, targeted by our own immune cells that can kill those cancer cells. That is also one of the tricky situations. And likewise, the threatful organization, they also have the mechanism to escape from or evade from the surveillance of security and the police system. Look at here. CCTV camera is here. So these are the cells, right? Another very important is the cancer cell, they are going to display certain morphology, certain receptors on the cell surface. So these receptors are working like, what I think is a camouflage, right? Like, wearing of uniform by some threatful organization members to evade from the security personnel. So that type of the attitude and the mechanism is also present within the cancer cell to evade or escape from the immune surveillance system, so that cancer cells are not going to be killed due to those type of, you can say, mimicry attributes within the cancer cell, right? Okay. Another very important point is, yes, first we see, in any cancer patient, like, primary tumor in an organ, then metastasis is one of the phenomena, and then other parts of the body, secondary tumors are going to be witnessed, right? Similarly, threatful organization, if you look at here, the migration or the expansion within the society, within the country, or within the global is also witnessed, right? So the bad intention or malignant intention of the tumor cells to propagate to metastasis, etc., is almost common between these two entities. Another very important is tumor, they create their own tumor microenvironment, right? Where the cancer cells are going to sustain, survive, proliferate, metastasis, and various many more uh, attributes are there. So these microenvironments is created by cancer self itself, right? And these microenvironment is for cancer cells to become stronger and in a growing phase. Similarly, the threatful organization, they also create their own space or the area, where they persuade other members to be a part of the threatful organization. So in other words, what I mean, the bad intention of the cancer cells, that is also one of the factor where even the non-cancer cells like immune cell, slowly and slowly they are persuaded by cancer cells to be a part of tumor microenvironment, right? And sometimes these immune cells, they are called as cancer supporters, cancer supporting immune cells, right? Cancer supporting stromal cells. So what is the whole intention? Intention is the cancer cells has very high power of changing the microenvironment, where those immune cells, they are eligible to target cancer cell. Ultimately, those immune cells become friends of these cancer cells. That is one of the also consequences within the human body system. Another is, it's very important. We know the cancer tumor organ itself, they have high complexities, right? Heterogeneous in nature and also dynamic in nature. So likewise, if you look at the threatful organization nowadays, it's highly complex, highly networked, heterogeneous, and also dynamic in nature. They also using a lot of technologies, tools for networking and communication. It is also true for, my dear friend, cancer cells. It's very, very dynamic in nature. Suppose if you are going to use anti-cancer drugs or chemotherapy, the cancer cells are also changing themselves to fight, to survive against these anti-cancer drugs. Then what? That means the cancer cells has huge dynamic properties to sustain in a particular environment. Another very important is basics of cancers are the same, but there are different types of cancer, right? Different type of factors that support these cancer cells. Similarly, threatful organizations, their evilness, their bad intentions are everywhere the same, but their names can be different, their organizations can be different, their place can be different, but that is what the similarity between the tumor organ and the threatful organization, right? And the last conclusive point is, with all the evilness, malignancy, invasiveness, powerful networking, and many more power to these tumor cells, look at here. And on the other side, threatful organization. What I see and what I conclude here in summary, that all these evilness or malign attitude, destructive attitude by the cancer cells do not help, my dear friend, even in the organ where the cancers are developed, right? Suppose there is a cancer in the liver organ. Cancer cells surviving, cancer cells are proliferating. But even that liver organ is not getting benefited, right? Whole human body system is not going to be getting, because the presence of cancer cells, their evilness itself is based on the self destruction, right? And that is why that becomes the cause behind the collapse and death of a human body system. Likewise, threatful organization, if you look at, they're malign in nature, destructive in nature, anti-humanity approach. It never going to be useful for the society or the place or the country or the globe. Always that leads to the destruction and loss of whole humanity. So what we understood, and that may also give some message to the general society, that cancer cells are going to be generated or developed within a human body system is the consequences of our own lifestyle, consequences of our own dietary pattern, pesticide, pollution, and many more things other than genetic factors. So we have to and we should care for our nature, live harmony with nature, understand the reason behind the cancer development, so that in near future human can make a decision to minimize these consequences. Thank you very much for listening this particular interesting idea regarding the what is tumor organ, why it is tumor organ, and what are the properties. Thank you very much.